Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another video. So what do we have here? We have What Makes a Real Man, 50 Men Debates slash Middle Ground by Jubilee. So we're going to listen to these 50 individuals all debate and quarrel amongst themselves. You can see from this opening shot alone that we have some lovely looking, hyper masculine characters, I'm sure. And so what is this piece of content? What does it really mean? First thing to notice is that everyone on this panel is going to be either a very mild conservative or they're going to be a left-wing person. And they're only going to pick the best representatives of the left wing. They're not going to pick the crazy, freaky, communist, violent nutjobs. So what this Jubilee media kind of is it's almost like a attempted rebranding or reframing of the dynamic between like left and right, where the left comes off a lot more reasonable and open to discussion, and the right comes off a lot softer and more centrist. So it's kind of like subverting the right, and then it's also kind of being way too fair and honest towards the left. And it's supposed to be this impression like, oh look, you have Team Red versus Team Blue. They're on opposite sides of the spectrum, but really all these guys are left wing. So all these guys are like total feminists, like they all support women's rights, they all love immigration, they're not racist, they're nice, they're good little boys. So keep that in mind, that this is not really a real dichotomy. It's not a real sampling. These people are parsed out by these companies to make sure that they don't have any controversial views, they don't come off non-presenting, like they can't present well, and that they are somewhat articulate, that they can add something interesting to the conversation. Most of these guys are actually fairly, if you listen, they sound like TV people. They sound like people who know how to speak in front of a camera and make something for television, basically, say something for television. So let's get into it. I think this is going to be pretty ridiculous, guys, but let's see what we find.
A lot of these ideas of what you think misandry is are just your misogynistic.
All right. Look at this Dr. Doofenshmirtz holding his globe, Tower of Power, looking ass dude holding his crystal ball. You don't understand. You're actually a misogynist. Hear the soy in this guy's voice, and this guy cannot grow a beard for shit. And then we got immigrant Chad over here, Hungarian immigrant Chad or something. Who knows?
Instincts and assumptions being exposed.
Yeah. So now you're assuming.
That's also a pretty feminine voice, actually. It's a pretty So you're assuming. Now I don't have the most perfect voice. I'm not super deep and booming because I'm not 6'7" and I don't smoke a cigarette every single day. But I saw some veins in his hands and his arms. He's wearing the lumberjack shirt, so he's trying to look tough. And he's got the beard, so he's trying to look tough. But you can kind of see in the cheeks have a sunkenness. They kind of have a fatty element to them. It's not high testosterone near his face. I don't know if you guys can see that at all. But no, I can't increase the resolution, unfortunately. But his face is not very high testosterone. It's actually very high estrogen. Probably some man boobs underneath that shirt. He's got some hair on his arms. He's married. He's got a ring on his left hand. But his voice actually was not very impressive for someone of his presentation and his stature. I thought it was going to be a bit more deep and booming, but no.
Assuming that I'm misogynistic
I'm not
because
assuming.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not assuming. That was not.
Yeah, okay, they're both gay. That's a very, very feminine queer voice. Okay, so we got two queers arguing about which one's more misogynistic. Okay. I'm misogynistic. No, you are. I'm not. I'm not misogynistic. This is what I mean, right? It's like left versus right. This is how to understand politics. The left is calling the right misogynistic, and they're going, I'm not misogynistic. I love everybody, just like you. No, you don't. You're an evil fascist. No, I'm not. I'm a nice little conservative. No, you're an evil fascist. That's left-wing, right-wing politics. That's all it will ever be. You're delusional. You lie. You're an evil fascist, and Trump is going to kill us. And that's two little soy boys. All right, but sure, they're going to define what masculinity is. Oh, okay, let's hear it.
An assumption. I gave you a very clearly
You're
rhetorical
demonstrating
path.
it right now.
Really? Yeah. Really? I hate men. That's
Do you
literally
think,
the
do you
definition.
think he's misogynistic?
Yeah, probably. I think we all are a little bit, some more than others.
Dude, even this guy, even the moderator has like the squeakiest squeaker voice known to man. What the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
All right, it's 2025. Trump is president, and we're back with another middle
This
ground.
guy's clearly gay. This guy's clearly gay. All right, we got Trump back, and Trump is the president. Okay, like, dude, do we have to? We can't have like an actually straight man, but whatever. It's Jubilee. What do you expect, right?
Now, behind me, I have 25 traditional men and 25.
Sure.
We're gonna ask them some questions.
Traditional,
and we're
my
gonna
ass.
see if they can find a middle ground. Our first question is: should it be socially acceptable for men to wear skirts? Come forward.
That's mentally retarded. If anyone on the more traditional side says no, they're mentally retarded. And they're like, yeah, but people in the ancient Egyptians used to wear skirts, you know. It's a tunic. It's a tunic. It is not a skirt. You guys watch Night in the Museum, so they're gonna bring that up. I bet they're gonna bring up the like, oh yeah, well, and that's the problem with these questions. Okay, so you guys got to watch out, and this is me being serious now. If someone's talking about masculinity and then they make a question about skirts, and it's specifically skirts. Skirts is not random. They didn't say dresses. They didn't say bras. They didn't say like high heels. They said skirts, and the reason is because skirts did actually used to have some kind of use in the past in the form of like a tunic, right? So they might make the argument that a skirt is not specifically like a male or female piece of clothing. It's something that's evolved with culture. And the progressives are using and picking this specific question because then they can make the point that, well, masculinity is just a product of the culture. See, look how what we call masculine and feminine clothing changes depending on the culture. Even though this isn't really true. What makes a piece of clothing masculine or feminine is what it's for. It's telos. So if a piece of clothing is there so you can work in it, so that it enables you to get work done, it enables you to fight, it enables you to be clean and kind of straightforward, then that's a male piece of clothing. So it's about its utility. But if a piece of clothing is designed for kind of beauty and it's more ornate and it's more maybe hindering might be a good word. Obviously, there's some people could say, yeah, but what about like French aristocrat clothing where it's like all super complicated and they got those fluffy ascots and shit. And I'm like, yeah, well, the French were pretty gay, so I wouldn't really use them as an example for that point. But yeah, and also nobles don't really count in that sense because we're talking about the average everyday person wasn't wearing fucking big giant three-piece suits, right? And like these fancy ascots and these like neck collars and shit, you know, right? The puffy wigs, like, yeah, they weren't wearing that, right? So that's a very small subset of people in France who would have been doing that. So that's not really fair. But you got to watch out for this specific question about skirts because it's not really a fair question because I know already where it's going to go. And I'm just going to say if a single person on the traditional side argues for that skirts are okay, then they're fucking gay. I'm just going to laugh.
Forward and find your speaker for this issue.
All right. Me personally,
I'm also noticing the more traditional side, the red side. They have a lot more diversity, which is weird. Which actually shows that immigrants are like kind of more based, and being this like stupid progressive thing is kind of like a white cuck thing. It's not like the immigrants are like semi-based.
I like fashion. I tried to dress nice today.
You did dress nice today.
Thank you.
I'm wearing a woman's sweater right now. This is from Brandy Melville.
You're gay.
But background in my culture, like
He's
I'm
wearing
Hawaiian,
earrings.
Men have traditionally worn skirts. We go back to other cultures, Japan, long.
Yeah, so see what I mean? They're doing this. Oh, look, if you look across history, men wore skirts. Da-da-da. So this is a really unfair question because it's kind of like cherry picking a specific question to teeing up a specific point for the progressive side. So these questions are unfair. Look at this guy. He's got earrings, and why would we trust him?
Gowns. Traditionally, men have been seen in history to be wearing the same clothes that women do now. And America is a much younger society than any of these cultures that have dated back thousands and thousands of years.
Okay, so first I'd like everyone to take a second and take a look at the fellas and what they're wearing over there.
They're all gay, bro.
Let's be so real right now. How are they gonna argue about what fashion? About what fashion is supposed to mean in America?
Really? Is he basically just saying that they look just as gay as us? I mean, he's kind of right. Except, are they all wearing earrings? And who the fuck is this old guy? What the fuck is he doing there? Is he like an old gay guy who's looking for some bussy after this? Like, what the fuck is this guy doing? What's this old grandpa doing?
Family sense or traditional sense?
It's in Scotland and in India, they wear dhotis. They're not wearing skirts because they think they're a woman. Here in America, that's the reason that they're wearing.
Look at these, like, super neurotic, super high energy. Get this fucking cross off your neck. I bet you're gay. Gotta have the cross, and there's no body on the cross, so you know they're not actually traditional. They're some, like, stupid Protestant sect. Some evangelical bullshit that lets gays in the church and whatnot. But yeah, okay, so nice cross. We got to throw that in there. And then look at this guy's behavior, Ryan. This guy Ryan. Look at his crazy psycho eyes. Look how emotionally moved this guy is. Look how like neurotic and spurgy this guy is. Like, just look at the posturing and look at the countenance of these individuals. You can just kind of ignore what they say, guys. Once you look at the way they speak, look at the way they act, everything they say after that, it's just like angry nerd noises, right? Just like angry gay man nerd noises. You just blah, blah, blah. Okay.
Wearing skirts is because they are trying to project that they are a female or the opposite sex or gender fluidity or any of that, and it's just not.
Again, it depends.
Not.
That's also not true, and this is a destiny argument, is that clothing or what we call masculine and feminine is only there to help distinguish individuals who are masculine and feminine. So the only reason we wear skirts, or women wear skirts and men wear suits, is so that we can easily distinguish men and women. This is also not really true, because it boils down and reduces the point of certain articles of clothing down to just some kind of dichotomous distinguishment, differentiation, delineation, definition, right? And this is not really, well, it's like kind of true, but it's also not really enough, because it's like, okay, well then why did men wear the suits and not women wear the suits and men wear the skirts? So it doesn't really answer the question when you just say it like that.
It depends on your intention. It depends on your culture. If your intention is to be...
But anyway, yeah, that's a specific point you guys got to look out for. Is this like gender expression or masculinity and femininity are just there to help distinguish men from women, so that men know to fuck the women using these signals and avoid fucking the men. It's like the only reason women wear skirts is so men know who to put the penis inside, and they don't accidentally. Which this kind of makes no real sense, because it's like supposed to be an evolutionary argument, except we didn't even have clothes or these other cultural, societal expressions until much more recently. So this doesn't really make any sense. You could argue that maybe with hair, maybe. But even then, I don't think that's like an effective, or it's not a holistic answer.
Be feminine, right? Obviously, it's not right.
We don't live in bro, right? I thought we were all about like the government not interrupting.
When it comes to just masculinity in general, like
it's funny that they're throwing different colored shirts onto these people to make it seem like they're on opposite teams, but it's literally all just leftists. They're all the exact same. They just said, all right, we're gonna randomly throw you guys on a team and give you different colored shirts, but it's all of them are the same exact type of person. It's all like a gay man with earrings with like a super squeaky voice who wants to like get all up in his feelings and get all like neurotic and gross. This is gross, like, just by the way. If I was a woman, I'd probably be grossed out. I would like feel repulsed.
I'm in the camp of you provide for your wife, you protect her, you should be a pillar. You. Any sign of like wearing a skirt or something like that, like obviously, bro, like that.
Nice voice, obviously, bro. Like, yeah. Okay, dude. But whatever. Nice bubble jacket, by the way.
It's not the move.
This is kind of representative of a general idea of what a man is supposed to be in terms of how we dress, how we conduct ourselves in public. I think most men look at what a man is supposed to dress like and look at that and see, well, now I have to justify the difference between that and me.
Clothing is not gendered. We make it gendered. Anything that we're wearing could be a woman's whatever. So we put.
Of course, the black guy with earrings to say that, but
titles on things, and I got a feeling nobody over there is gonna have any argument against any one of us.
The progressive.
Nice. Like, look at their little gay, just like this gesticulations. Like, oh, I'm gonna point my fingers over there. Inflect your arm inward and point your elbow inward. It's like an inherently feminine. We all pick up on these things inherently, but it's important to be able to articulate exactly what's going on. I think anyway, which is it's how you like flare your elbows. It's how you project your body, right? So when you're standing in a room, for example, you're taught shoulders back, take up space, be confident. And that's based on the principle that extending your joints outward creates volume to your profile, to your space, makes you look more dominant, makes you look more masculine. So that's the idea, and it's kind of dumb. It's like something a pickup artist would like tell you about how to like angle your feet correctly type shit. Some like kind of dumb advice. But it is important to pick up on, because if someone's doing the opposite, like they're angling their elbows in towards their body, they're curling up, they're kind of moving their shoulders into their body, they're hunched over, then that does make them more like feminine, and they're probably not ready to fight. And that's an important thing to know. So that's a useful piece of information. If you're a man navigating this world today, you need to know who's going to be a threat, who's going to be likely to fight back and fight you and maybe get aggressive on you, and who's someone you don't have to worry about as much. Someone with their body hunched in who's got feminine little hand expressions, it's probably not someone you have to worry about. Someone who's actually secure and taking up space in the room and doesn't feel... Now this is tricky too, because there's a lot of like pseudo-masculine guys, like pickup artist people and like 17-year-old boys who do this, and they think that they're doing it intentionally. But even if you're doing it intentionally and it's fake, it's better than being openly like gay. So I'll say that, and we'll just let them talk.
Men are gonna say it doesn't matter what you wear. You can wear any dress, you can wear a skirt, you can wear this. In the same vein, they would say it doesn't matter what language you speak, it doesn't matter what religion you speak. And as traditional men, we disagree with that. We want to have a cohesive society that we speak similar things, we believe similar things, we have a sense of community in all of the in the things that we wear.
Homogeneity.
What they're saying is actually the anti-social stance, where everybody does what they want and nobody has a sense of community. So we need to hit on that.
I mean, he's kind of right, but that argument's way too vague, and that doesn't really tie to skirts and clothing specifically. But I like it. Let's push for some homogeneity. Yeah, I agree with that.
Whoever speaks not just about the skirt, because the skirt it's the detail, and that's unimportant.
We are rooted in some kind of greater faith that defines...
Who's this guy? This guy looks like what's this? Casey Neistat. This guy looks like Casey Neistat. What the fuck? Also, that's kind of a weird gay-looking shirt.
Masculinity, the man as a role. He is under God, he is serving his family, and he is the creator of his society and the perpetual...
Dude, this sounds like what a fake masculine person would say. He is the provider. He is under God. It sounds like a shitty AI, like trying to imitate a right-wing person. This is actually kind of comical.
...creator of said values.
Yo, it's simple, bros. Skirts are for women.
We should also talk about what does it look
Genius. I kind of like that logic, honestly. The like skirts are for women.
Look like if it's not socially acceptable. What does that mean? Point out how in practice, if it's...
And then there's another problem, is should it be socially acceptable for men to wear skirts? So it's a moral question. So it's talking about a value judgment, which is tricky, because if you're a leftist, then you're just going to project your own value set of, well, everyone should be able to do whatever they want. We should have total freedom and do whatever the hell you want. And then it's hard to drag them out of this value set. That's why you can't really argue with a leftist, is because when a leftist makes a stance or they make a point, they're making a point from a moral position. They're saying, I think things ought to be this way. I have my own moral utopia in my head where everyone's gay and is allowed to be gay and lives together in kumbaya utopia land. So you can't drag them out of this. And it's the same problem with communism and Marxism, is that they have this utopia land, and then everything else that gets in the way, reality included, is an obstacle to their utopia, their moral ought. And then so they kind of just, everything gets kind of treated as an obstacle to their worldview. So when you frame these questions as a moral ought, you're priming the left to insert their value system and kind of banter about what things should be, and they're just gonna like champion social justice and everyone do whatever the hell you want and shit like that. And it's kind of like hard to argue if you're an actual liberal.
It's not socially acceptable. That means we're shaming people, we're bullying people, we're excluding people.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone
Let's
agrees
bully
that's
them.
a good thing.
I do.
Okay, then
I do. Let me speak up. I think we should bully people. Hell yeah. If someone's wearing a skirt, please bully them. Actually, I can't say that. Wait. Will I get thrown off YouTube? Nobody watches these videos. Am I going to promote bullying? I'm not going to promote bullying, guys. Don't bully anybody. That's not okay. We're supposed to be Christian. We love everybody. We're not supposed to bully them. But, I mean, a certain part of me is kind of like, the dark, less nice part of me kind of wants to bully them. I would kind of get maybe a little bit of enjoyment from it if I was being entirely honest with the less nice parts of myself. But anyway.
I feel comfortable.
We have to take it a vote. We want to know who wants
to.
I will.
Okay, all in favor?
Juma?
Let's go.
Everyone for Riley. Who votes for Riley? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think that's already a majority.
One and done, guys.
One and done. It is Riley.
All right, both sides have chosen their speakers, so let's bring forward Juma and Riley.
We got the fat, gay-looking man. And we have the guy who's not even wearing the blue shirt. Nice, good job.
Should it be socially acceptable for men to wear skirts? You've got 8 minutes to find them.
Okay, let me prioritize it. Red wing, red pseudo-conservative is gonna say, he's gonna appeal to like probably, that's wrong, and we should keep the gender roles because they're good for society and shit like that, and they're gonna appeal to tradition and social cohesion. And then the guy on the right is gonna say he's just gonna champion the narrative of the left of like freedom, gaytopia. So let's get into it.
Middle ground between the two of you, go for it.
Well, I believe that men can wear whatever they want, and pertaining to skirts particularly, I am a native Hawaiian person. Traditionally in the culture that goes further back than America itself, men wear
gotta give him his minority points. I'm a Hawaiian. I come from an exclusive culture. I'm a cultural minority. And then the black guy's like, oh yeah, I have to give you points for that because I'm also a gay leftist black guy. Okay, so I gotta give you your minority points. There you go. Here they are. I'll nod and respect your gay minority points. All right, let's move on.
Skirts. Japan, men wear long gowns.
It's not called a skirt though, specifically.
I know,
it's
but
something else.
Again, it's just different
Like,
cultural
I'm Muslim,
norms.
I wear a thobe sometimes.
Yes, but it's
like some
cultural
cats in the
norms.
military. I've roomed with guys in the military, and they say like I had to shoot the dude in the dress. So it's like, nah, like, do I take it personal? No. That's just according to that group of people, that's what they call it, right? Like, I wouldn't call a kilt a skirt.
Okay.
No, that's a cultural symbol. What a skirt means in today's society is different.
Okay, let me break down this debate because they're just gonna dwaddle. So how would you actually answer this question? For the right to actually defend this, or the conservatives to defend this, first of all, you have to make you have to prove whether or not skirts are a men's or women's clothing, and then you have to defend the next premise or statement, which would be that women should not wear men's clothing and men should not wear women's clothing. So it's kind of like the conservatives, the red team, has to defend these two pillars, and they have to establish them, because that's really the only way they can win. And then the burden of proof is on them, because why are they going to interject and say it's not socially acceptable? All the left really has to do is say, yeah, we let people do what they want. We shouldn't socially bully people for no reason. So unless the red team can demonstrate a good reason for why we need to socially ostracize people for wearing skirts, why don't we just say live and let live? Seems to be the general policy, unless you can produce a good reason as to why not. So even the way the question's framed, it's inherently skewed in the favor of the progressives, but whatever.
Right. But go ahead. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
I mean, yeah, like I was saying, traditionally cultures that go further back where clothing only has the meaning that we set to it. So
he just asserts that meaning to clothing or meaning to stuff is just made up. It's a social construct. Guess what, guys? Clothing is just a social construct. There we go. I win the debate. All right.
If I someday
like, imagine you could just assert points and be like, well, there is no such thing as masculine and feminine clothing. It's just made up. We just invented it. It's made up. No basis. The end. All right, I win the debate. Thank you. Let me get my gold medal. Goodbye. If you could just do that, and that's what most people do during debates, guys, is they just assert points. They say, well, I think it should be this. Well, I think it should be that. I believe in this. I believe in that. And just a bunch of assertion after assertion after assertion. Nowhere is there like proof, or is there any kind of appeal to anything? Is there any kind of like logical progression and logical building upon some kind of foundation, relying on first principles, or anything that anything normative maybe? It's very rare that people actually bring in actual points for their arguments. Most of the time they just do what this guy's doing here, which is they just, oh, I believe this, I believe that, I believe skirts are just a social construct, therefore I win, GG. Like, look how lazy these people are.
Decide that your skinnier pants are feminine.
They are.
Because I got.
They are. He's actually right.
Baggier pants, right? Then I can do I get to ridicule?
Yes, you do. Yeah, you do. That's actually a good point. And this is like, if the left wants to argue against the right, say you're a left-wing person and you don't like right-wing conservative people, is point out how the right-wing people are just actually also liberal. Point out how they're also equally gay and they're also non-principled. That's how you defeat them. Like, the left-wing person in general actually has a better argumentative stance than the right-wing person, because the right-wing person is equally unprincipled. And the left-wing person should call them out on hypocrisy more. And what he's doing is actually right. Is he's like, you're wearing skinny pants. You're wearing a bubbly, weird little vest thingy that looks kind of gay. Am I allowed to insult you and shame you for that? Can I shame you and your black Buddhas for wearing earrings? I mean, because I do, right? So he's actually making a good point.
Ridicule you for that? Do I get to
Yes.
outcast you for that? That's just my question. Again, going back.
So
why is it not? Why is it not socially acceptable?
What it represents is that's femininity, yo. Like there's no question about it. Like, if you're a dude walking around in a black leather skirt, like you're saying a lot. Like, Jaden Smith is one of them cats that was on Vogue.
Why do we want to see
nah,
this?
Like, we've seen what a skirt represents.
Why do we want to see one of these gay black guys with Jewish handlers dressing them up in skirts because they think it's funny? Why do we want to see this?
As a man,
I don't want to see this.
At least in North American culture and even some Asian cultures. Like, I've been to South Korea. There are a lot of hyper feminine men out.
This guy looks total.
The only thing that I didn't see
total
in South
baby
Korea
face.
was cats putting on makeup in the mirror. But for some reason, whenever I would go outside,
I go to Thailand. Go to Thailand, bro.
I see hella cats wearing makeups, foundation, eyeliner, all that stuff.
So femininity is negative? And for
I just got
men
painted
to
nails.
express
What the fuck?
Yeah, but is it okay to express feminine things? What do you think about my nail polish? What do you think about my skinny watch?
Me personally, bro.
Me personally, bro, I think that's a little gay. Okay, says the fat black guy.
I ain't rocking like
Okay, that's cool. That's great. But I am. So is there anything wrong with that?
That's
Whoa, dude. Whoa. What he's making a good point, and he's basically saying, when you don't like something, is that just your preference, and are individuals entitled to their own preferences, or is there something objectively wrong with it? Like, that's actually a good point. Now, he didn't quite articulate it that profoundly or that thoroughly, but that's basically what he's saying. Is he's saying, when you see a gay person and you're like, ew, I don't like the gay person, is that simply because you think you personally don't like it? It's your own personal preference that you don't like it? Meanwhile, you still think they should have their own preference and they can do whatever they want within their own preference? Or is there something inherently wrong with it that we should impose on others? And conservatives can't say that because they're gay. So
it's a feminine trait.
Yeah.
like you'll never hear a conservative say, yes, we should actually impose what's right and wrong on other people. They'll never say that because they're pussies.
You want to exude about yourself.
Okay.
Now, like, if we walk down the street, like, I may interact with you a little bit differently just because, like, I see the fact that you're wearing nail polish.
What does that mean? Like,
well,
would you
generally, bro, like, whenever cats are like wearing nail polish,
Yeah.
they're a little bit more hyper feminine.
Okay.
They may try to hit on you or just other stuff in general.
Okay.
So it's like.
So you're afraid? I mean,
No, I'm not afraid.
Even outward expression of femininity does not define sexuality. I mean, like, there's a lot of straight guys out there, a lot of, people who are in, like, emo punk scene wearing black nail polish for fun. People who wear lots of rings, completely straight, and it
but
doesn't
it's
matter.
the representation, though, of what that means.
What does that mean, though?
So, like, a guy wearing, like, he's obviously.
And now you guys can kind of see what I'm saying. There's two pillars to the debate. Does skirt represent feminine clothing? Yes or no? Does it fall into the category of a piece of feminine clothing, or is it just a multi-purpose piece of clothing that can be feminine if it's worn by a woman, or it can be masculine if it's in a different historical context or if it's in a different application, like some of these other objects like rings that they're referring to. And they can't really seem to establish. This one should be easy to establish. Like, I feel like even the conservacucks should be able to say, yes, a skirt clearly falls within the domain of a piece of feminine clothing. We're not talking about these other things. We're talking specifically about skirts. As it is today, skirts definitely are a categorically feminine piece of clothing. And then all they can really do from that, or is they can disagree, or the left person could challenge the categories of male and feminine clothing. They could say, I don't think there should be male or feminine clothing, and I don't think you have a justification to establish those kinds of categories in the modern day. There is no such thing as male or feminine clothing. Anyone can wear whatever the hell they want. So you could say that, or you could say that the evidence of what appears to be gendered clothing is really an old societal construction that doesn't really hold up anymore in today's modern day and age with our current value system. Anyone can wear whatever the hell they want, right? So they could frame it like that, but probably won't. But they should be able to get this point that, like, they should be able to get that one pillar at least. Then to say that men can't wear women's clothing and women shouldn't be able to wear men's clothing, that's a whole separate point, because then you're imposing a value system onto kind of another person.
Counterculture, right?
Yeah.
Like if he's like the emo punk kind of guy. Also, like borderline, like devil worship at times.
Devil worship?
Yeah,
Well,
like nah.
I mean,
that can be clearly associated with it with a pentagram. A skirt isn't indicative of what a masculine man should represent in today's society. We got a lot of over feminization of a lot of guys, like being.
Damn, that's rich, bro. Says fat, estrogenic, puffy face, like kind of squeaky voice, flabby arms, wearing a fucking bubble coat, vest, looking chubby dude with like smooth, oily, estrogenic skin, and he has better lips than some of those women with like Botox lip fillers. He's got a bunch of fat on his face. Looks like he eats McDonald's regularly. So he's going to tell us that men today are feminized. That's crazy.
Solid man that your wife can look to, or whoever that you're taking care of.
Okay, but he's talking about a wife. This guy's clearly gay. He's clearly gay. He's got painted nails. He's wearing a skirt, or not a skirt. He's wearing like a women's sweater. Some like loose women's sweater, right? He's got rings. He's clearly gay. So you're talking about a wife. This guy's not going to have a wife. Like, come on.
Care of. Can look to and be like, yo, that's my pillar. Like, if something going wrong in my life, they got me. And if you're walking around wearing a skirt, bro, like, okay, there might be cats that can walk around wear a skirt and they solid to the people that they can take care of, right? But the exception isn't the rule.
This isn't a horrible argument. This is actually a decent argument, but he's not really saying it clearly. He's basically saying a skirt is a feminine piece of clothing. Men need to be and present masculine for the stability and well-being of their family, of their wife. Men need to project masculinity for the sake of their family. And wearing feminine clothing hinders their ability to express masculinity. So then the problem with this is he can just say, well, does that really make him less masculine? That's kind of another thing too.
Most cats walking around in a skirt, bro, they're not super breaded up. They're just cats trying to express themselves sexually because they've given up on the financial part.
I mean, I feel like a lot of people who express like feminine
it's easier,
traits, like
it's easier to be broke.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of people who express feminine traits, you know, and have been, you know, in the media for wearing skirts. You know, Harry Styles is the biggest example.
Now you're starting to tap into the fact of like, nah, like it's pretty obvious and it's out in the open now that a lot of these rappers, a lot of these cats grabbing ankles.
True.
These same dudes that wear skirts are the same ones that were popping up at the Diddy party.
True.
They holding hands with Diddy, calling him daddy.
I mean, again,
Like,
this
come
kind
on,
of just
man.
goes
This is
back to
true.
the argument that a lot of people try to push
that's
that
feminization.
that gay people are groomers and they're
then on top of that, bro, like,
Also, they are groomers. Gay people are groomers. 33% of child molestings happen from same-sex attracted adults, which, when they represent 3% of the population, and yet they're committing 33% of the child molestation crimes,
I get it, bro. Like I get like it's a cool piece of clothing. Like my pops, he owned a fashion label. He did it in the '90s, where he exclusively designed women's clothing out of Egyptian silk. I totally get it. From a fashion perspective, for a woman.
So your daddy's like a rich business boy who does fashion, little fashion mogul bitch boy. Okay.
Bro, it's amazing. Like, bro, I think a woman looks good in a maxi skirt. But I'm saying I don't think a dude should be walking around rocking that.
And I guess my question to you to dig deeper is, should this be, mandated? Should you, bully people who are wearing skirts?
It shouldn't be open, common practice being taught to kids like, hey, bro, go to school wearing a skirt. Like, I'll tell you right now, like, the time me growing up in East Oakland.
That's the only thing the right-wing people have in their favor is they can use, like, normative common sense stuff that appeals to, like, normies who don't want to think too hard. They can just be like, yeah, you probably shouldn't send your kid to school wearing a skirt because he's going to get bullied. It's probably not a good idea for men to be wearing skirts because then their children and the wife is going to think they're a faggot, right? And men need to be strong. So you can kind of say shit like that where it just... it's very surface level, but it's effective. It's rhetorically powerful.
You go to school wearing a skirt, it's gonna be rough for you.
I mean, I'm not going to
Like,
disagree with you on that, but we should break down that stigma of people having to be scared of what they choose to wear. No, because if, like you said, I should be.
But all this guy really has to say, the guy on the right's getting like flustered. He has to say why. Why? But actually, why though? Oh, I get you don't like, because the guy on the left is just once again asserting things. Why can't men wear skirts? What's actually wrong with that? I get you don't like it or there's a disgust reaction, but is that disgust reaction justified? Because people used to have a disgust reaction towards gay people, and now they're totally acceptable. So if you're going to make an argument against skirts, then shouldn't you really be arguing against all these other things too, from the same logic, right? So it could be stuff like that. And then, yeah, just press him why. Why are skirts unacceptable? That needs to be actually established, like the grounding for that. He doesn't have to just accept that.
Scared coming, to where you're saying wearing a skirt or feminine attire or accessories or anything like that. So should people have to fear for self-expression?
So I'll explain to you this, right? Like, I was a shooting specialist at Banana Republic for almost 2 years, right? And like, dude.
Okay, so this dude's just like constantly flexing his credentials, this fucking guy.
Like, I see
his like gay fashion credentials that he got from his daddy's wealth, but whatever.
A whole bunch of cats walk in there, different arrays, different budgets, you know what I'm saying? And I'm helping them get to where they gotta get. More than likely, man, like the cats that I saw wearing skirts, man, those ain't the kind of guys that, like, the cat like me would want to rock with. Like the cats that I rock with, they're solid through and through.
I don't know what you mean by
business
cats.
owner. I'm also a professional fighter. So it's like, nah, bro, like.
Really, dude, you're a professional fighter. What is everyone trying to be Andrew Tate for? This like fat, chubby, like gay-looking black dude? Like, come on.
Just that kind of.
I can't grow a beard for shit. That's like the patchiest beard I think I've ever seen.
Energy, it's not conducive for me to be around because I need to cultivate a certain kind of mindset, a certain kind of atmosphere around myself in order to achieve what I believe is peak to what I need to be.
Okay, so Riley, based on kind of what you're hearing coming from Juma, what do you think is a middle ground statement that you think you could both agree on, or that you want him to agree on?
I would like for you to agree on that men should be able to express themselves. In fact, anybody should be able to express themselves however they want, skirt, nail polish, whatever, and that it should be.
We're focused on
okay,
skirt,
skirt.
not the nail polish.
Men should be able to wear a skirt, and it can have a positive stigma around it if they so decide.
Well, here's a better one. You don't have to like a person wearing a skirt, but you shouldn't bully them or you should allow it to be socially acceptable because it's the same as being gay. Really, if you're like, well, it hurts masculinity and I don't like hanging around those people and that makes me uncomfortable, and you say, yeah, but we have all this kind of precedent around gay people. Are you going to say you're homophobic now? Because all those same arguments could be used against gay people. Oh, I don't want to hang around them. I don't really dig with people like that. I personally don't like it. So it's like, is that a personal preference that you have that you just personally don't like it? Or does there need to be some kind of societal stigma around it? And can you really justify that societal stigma? That's all you would have to say.
If culturally, they come from a culture. In Muslim tradition, right, there's this wrap that you can wrap
I'm not even
around
talking
your
about
waist. Some people would call that a skirt. So, like, that kind of cultural thing, no problem. But we're talking about North American problems. We're not talking about every other place.
Right, so why'd you bring that up?
So what's the middle ground that you think
The middle ground
Riley.
is culturally, if that's where your family is from, rep where your family from. Rep your culture, rep your...
But what if your culture is being like a gay black dude with earrings and like having Jewish guys dress you up in dresses? Looking at you, Sneeko. Yeah, so what if being gay and being a sexual degenerate is your culture? What if your culture just sucks ass? Should we still allow it? You're basically saying, well, if it's socially acceptable within the culture, then it should be socially acceptable within the culture that you're in. That's basically what he's saying. He's just appealing to culture, but it's like that's begging the question. That's the exact thing in question. So it's circular. So it's bad logic. Very silly.
Set, whatever it is, right? But you as a man, if that's something that you want to do, bro, by all means, bro. Just not that close to me, though. It's good.
Well, I disagree. I think...
Also, the way he's framing it, that's just a personal preference. So that doesn't really justify a societal stigma, because that's just your preference.
That men should be able to express themselves however they want. And that's it. I don't think there should be any, especially clothes.
But what I'm hearing is, even if you don't agree that it should be, that you think it's socially acceptable, I have heard you say that men should be allowed to wear skirts if that's how they want it, if that's what they want to do.
If that's what Brett wants to do, by all means. But I'm saying from like a cultural, religious perspective, it's not conducive to what a good nation trying to bring stronger individuals into the world should be doing.
See, there's like there's a background to this. It's not because you just don't like the clothes, right? What do you think? Like, I don't understand that you think it makes someone less of a man, less masculine, and that in turn makes them weaker for wearing a skirt.
In North American culture, I do not believe that it's acceptable for a man to wear a skirt.
Sure, yeah, actually, yeah, yeah. You are less masculine if you wear a skirt, and we need masculine men because that's what society needs. Yep. There you go.
Not gonna find a middle ground in between on that.
I like to propose that it's okay for a man to wear whatever he chooses.
If that's what you believe, I respect you enough to agree with you on that part. But me personally, like you as an individual, if you want to do that, by all means, bruh. But nah, not for North American culture. It means...
Then he just gave up the debate. So he's saying individuals can do whatever the hell they want to do, but I have my own way of seeing things. So this guy on the left is just receding the debate. Because the debate isn't about whether you prefer it personally. It's about should society... It's an ought statement about society at large. It's about imposing a certain standard for society, not just yourself.
Something different here.
So is that you saying that that doesn't work as a middle ground statement?
No, we're not going to find a middle ground.
Okay. I think we can leave it at that. We gave it a good try. Shake hands and let's start.
We need a gay or black guy. You know everybody's getting
We
like
did not find a
touched
middle ground
after
in
this.
that last prompt, but thank you to Juma and Riley for giving it a try. We're going to move on to our next prompt.
Just think of all the gay guys hitting on each other in the studio. They're like, hey man, that was an awesome Jubilee video. You want to go out to the gay bar afterwards? Go get Pink Whitney's.
Which is, does society need more trad wives or girl bosses?
Who can define these terms?
Okay, so a girl boss.
It's not a false dichotomy. How about how about virgins? How about more virgins? How about more celibate women? See what I mean? But it's framing the right-wing, left-wing dichotomy as trad wives and girl bosses. And it's like, we could have like virgins and like mothers of like 10 kids. Octomoms. Like, why not have more of those? Those are awesome. Why is it stupid trad wives in their 1950s aesthetic Instagram pages and annoying bitches at the gym with their stupid blazers? Why are we stuck with these two stupid old white woman dichotomies?
She's like a girl who like slays the house. She's independent, bro. She's like
she's independent,
she's
bro.
her own boss. You know, she
She's
don't
her
need a
own
man.
boss, bro.
And the trad wife is what? Traditional.
Is like a woman who's like, I gotta cook and clean for my husband.
Girl boss doesn't necessarily mean going out and being a CEO or doing whatever. It's just an empowerment of doing what they want to do.
The lighting
Being
in
able
here
to
sucks.
choose that, you know, the best choice for that relationship is to stay at home and take care of a kid, whether that's the man or the woman or whoever in the partnership, or to go and work.
I don't care if she's traditional or trad. she's got to follow my program. and my
Another
rule as a
gay
man.
black guy with earrings, bro. Damn. Another gay black guy with earrings. Holy shit. There's another one.
And what I'm saying is, she can go.
Bro look like bottom G in jail. Bro looks like he's been bottom G in jail. I'll say that.
And be a
Bro this guy genuinely looks like he's come out of jail. I'm not saying that he has. Don't defame me. I'm not defaming anybody here. Like, don't send me a defamation lawsuit. But this guy looks like he's been out of jail, if I had to guess.
Boss at the job, but when she comes home, she's gonna take that shirt or hat off, and she's gonna follow my lead and follow what I have to say, because I'm the man. She's
Yeah,
got
you're the
my
man.
ring. She's got my ring.
You beat her.
She's under my roof.
But again, it's all respect. No, yeah, of course. As far as the traditional wives, I mean, my wife kind of fits that mold. She does work from home, but I was in the military for over a decade.
Military
And
guy,
so I was a sole
okay.
provider, and she would stay at home and raise her kids, and that's just really worked for us. So I also have a 16-year-old daughter that I'm also raising.
Mr. Based Military Chad. Yep. Seen plenty of those. Yeah, I'm sure your mom was. Oh, she was at home taking care of the kids. I'm sure she was, dude. I'm sure she was. I'm sure she definitely didn't go a little on the side. You know what I'm saying?
To be a traditional
My vote goes to
Can we get a show of hands of folks who think they're a good fit for this?
1, 2, 3.
A lot of times, whether a woman should be a stay-at-home wife or whether she can like work and do.
Dude, all the estrogen in this room. Holy fuck, dude. Look at the estrogen in these fucking children, bro. This is disgusting.
Other things in society is kind of a
See it burning
cloaked
down.
sexist argument. And so I think that whether or not a man or a woman in a relationship,
Give
who's
a
the
little
stay-at-home
notepad.
parent, who's working, should be a function of the individuals and should not be a function of us doing these, gender role-based prescriptions.
I'm caught between him and him, but the most important question for me is, are you paying all the bills for your home?
The girl bosses have been detrimental to society, and how trad wives have actually helped build the family and through homemaking raise up the kids instead of them going out
This
to
gay
the public
mullet
school
boy in the
system
back.
or being raised by strangers because the girl bosses were too busy working.
Bro, shut
to care
up.
about
He
their
keeps.
kids.
Traditional wives is
Look at this fucking guy. He's like, yeah, 100%.
Who's the stay-at-home parent?
Him and him.
Girl public and detrimental to society.
Look at this fucking guy. He wants screen time so desperately, but he's not going to get it because he's a white guy. He's just like, yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, I definitely agree. It's like, bro, shut up. No one asked.
And how trad wives have actually helped build the family and through homemaking raise up the kids instead of them going out to the public school system or being raised by strangers because the girl bosses were too busy working to care about their kids.
Traditional wives is outdated. We find that women who have
Shit's
leadership
outdated.
roles do have higher success, arguably, than men because they get people to work together better. I feel.
Shit.
Men, it's about competition.
In like
Shit.
modern society, most physicians are women, most lawyers in America are women.
And they all retire or do less than 20 hours after 8 years on the job. So, there's more women in medicine. There's more women lawyers. They don't work as many hours. They don't work overtime. They don't work as hard. They don't chase promotions. So it matters the quality of work you're getting, not just that they're fitting a position. So I like to throw that little stat out anytime anyone's like, well, women are in that medicine and women get more education. It's like, yeah, but it also matters the quality of their education. Are they getting just a liberal arts degree or are they getting a science degree? Are they getting an engineering degree? Are they getting a medical degree? And then are they going to take that medical degree and are they actually going to work for 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 hours in the hospital doing 14-hour shifts? Or are they going to go part-time once they start raking in that money and then they get 50 and then I'm just going to go part-time and not work anymore. I'm going to retire early, right? So women retire earlier. They don't make as much money. They go on vacation more. They take more leave. They are less likely to work overtime, less likely to accept calls into the office, et cetera, et cetera.
And the most educated people out of men and women are women. They attend school at higher rates.
I don't know if it's really education. It's not like women are smarter. It's more like they're more indoctrinated by the leftist academia hive mind. When you say educated, what does that really mean? It means, oh, I did some stupid liberal arts degree and it's the easiest, most cakewalk looking degree on your life. Like a liberal arts degree or like a soft science degree is nowhere near comparable in terms of difficulty or in terms of rigorous education compared to some kind of STEM degree or law or even laws like arts for like the first 4 years. Or or any like actual difficult STEM degree. They're not even comparable. So it's like women are getting educated. They have more degrees. It's like, yeah, but their degrees are shit. They mean nothing.
They graduate at higher rates.
The capability women have to raise children, the innate
Hey,
ability
this guy
that
got
my
his
mother has.
He got a fucking he got his time on the mic. He's a traditional man. Look at all those tattoos, Mr. Traditional Man has.
The connection she has with me is something that is very important, and I feel like girl bosses lack that.
If you're gonna say that the woman's duty is to serve the man, say it just as much conviction that it's the man's job to serve the woman.
Isn't the question we need more trad wives versus girl boss? Like that's the question, right? And so like I would advocate for that. You know.
We gotta vote. Let's just vote.
How much time?
I vote Anthony.
Anthony, sure.
Anthony. Raise your hand for Anthony. Steve, vote for Steve? 1, 2, 3.
I'm gonna vote for myself.
Well, all right. Well, I'm gonna assume everybody's voting for themselves.
Gay
Votes
Jewish
for
man.
Jay. 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. There we go. It's yours.
All right, both sides have chosen a speaker to debate this prompt. So let's bring forward Anthony and Greg. Greg, Anthony, the question was, does society need more trad wives or girl bosses? I'll let you take it from here.
I definitely think that society needs more trad wives. Putting women in the workplace is actually a failed feminist movement, which minimized wages for men, and then it gave the government free control over the children, right, through a public education system. And I think that that's also why we have a lack of masculinity in society. So.
Okay. Yeah. So there's 3 claims there. There was the government controlling the children.
Yep.
That's not what I said.
And then the wages being stolen from men.
True.
I didn't say it was stolen.
Oh, sorry. How did you phrase it?
No, you said it was like minimizing wages for men.
Minimizing. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Causing an impact on men.
True.
And then what was the first one?
It was moving women to the work.
Moving women. Okay. Yeah. So there is no statistically significant difference between the cognitive ability.
This is like the Jewish plant that's there to like make sure the conversation stands on track, and he's like hand-fed information to like, well, actually, our producers say that this guy is such a plant. Like this is literal plant behavior.
Abilities of men and women.
Sorry, pardon.
It was moving women to the work.
Moving women. Okay. Yeah. So there is no statistically significant difference between the cognitive abilities of men and women. You can on
IQ. I genuinely disagree. I think, well, the problem with IQ, and I've said this way before, I've said this years ago, IQ equalizes men and women. So the way IQ is designed is it's designed as a reflective average. So when you get 100 IQ, that 100 IQ doesn't correlate to anything objective. It correlates to the average. So it aggregates all of the results of the tests, and then where you sit in terms of IQ is really an average that's X amount standard deviations away from the average. So if I have 115, then I'm 1 standard deviation, 37 point. One sec. I want to say it's 37%. 34.1%. I'm in the 84.1% tile. 84th percentile. So that's all IQ really means. And then it also equalizes for men and women. So that's another problem, is that the way these tests are correlated and the way the questions are weighted in the tests equalize for masculine and feminine intelligence, such that women and men get equal scores. So it's literally rigged to give women the same results as men. But if women had to only do the questions that were masculine, then they would have lower scores. Like if the test bank for women or the quote-unquote female questions were not equalized for male questions and the women just only did the questions that men did, they would score significantly lower. So it's tricky. It's like, how do I explain it? Do you know those memes where it's like comparing two people and then it's like strength 1 0, speed 1 1, you know, It's shit like that, and that's basically what the IQ test is, where it takes a question, gives it a certain weighting that men are good at, gives it a weighting of 1, takes another question that's specifically engineered for women, for what women are good at, assigns it an equal weight to this other question, and then does that until the questions produce equal results for men and women. Because the way the IQ test is built is it by default assumes men and women have equal intelligence. So then it finds its own presupposition. It's like, hey, look, we found men and women have the same intelligence. It's like, yeah, because you've rigged the test that way. So it's not really fair. And when they say cognitive abilities, okay, you're just vaguely referencing general cognitive abilities. What was the methodology like? What was the test? Right? So it's very annoying because these tests will have like EQ questions, and it's like, is EQ intelligence? Is it? So I don't really buy this. What you can point to is that there are no female inventors. Men dominate STEM. Men do all the engineering jobs. Men do the majority of like science related jobs. Okay. Men are the highest earners in these fields. So men earn more in science fields. Which you can say, oh, they work harder or they're smarter. Hard to say. Men run most of the companies. Men make most of the businesses. Men are much more likely to be in business. Being business minded is a certain kind of like social intelligence, logistics intelligence that aggregates a lot of different types of intelligence. So yeah, I'm not sure. Like men and women, I find this is shaky, and this is not something you can just say, oh look, fact check, we prove men and women have the same intelligence. It's a very debated, contentious issue. So to just assert it with this fact check is dumb. Also, this isn't really a fact check because he didn't say men were smarter than women. He didn't say that. So he's fact checking nothing. This was an unprompted fact check. So it makes no sense.
Obviously find an outlier study or two that says something else.
Sure.
And so
that's not what we're debating, though.
Well,
True.
no, but it's to, I'm building to my point.
Okay.
Yeah, so in that context.
But it's not really fact check. So don't phrase it as oh, we're going to fact check you actually. Because you're just bringing a point to the data, to the table.
I think we should have a society that empowers men and women equally to pursue whatever works best for them and in their relationship. Like, for example...
Also, if you have a really smart woman, that doesn't necessarily mean her role should be out working in society, working a job. If you have a really, really smart woman, she's 160 IQ, she should be having 8 160 IQ sons, right? Even if you're a really, really smart woman, then your role is still pass on those genes and have like god tier sons who build empires and conquer shit, do amazing things. Because that will always be the superpower of women, is having kids and being able to multiply and reproduce whatever good genes you have. So women can be smart too, and maybe women should use their smarts in the workplace. That's actually not substantiated, that second point, that once women are smart, they need to go use it in the workplace. I don't think that's really demonstrated. Also, I have no clue how that relates to trad wives and girl bosses. So that doesn't really prove anything.
We have friends who are married, man and woman, and they are both in healthcare, and they both take turns working. Like, dad will work.
Look how nervous this guy sounds. You can hear the breathing in his voice every time he starts a sentence because he's so nervous. He's about to have a histrionic panic attack just from talking to this fucking dude over there, who actually looks semi-presentable. Look how fat he is too. Damn, this guy's fat. This guy loves McDonald's. But yeah, okay.
One day, mom will work the other day. And I think it's awesome if we have career opportunities. We have things like, affordable childcare, paid family leave. Anything in society that supports people to make the decision that works best for their family, I think is positive. And I think if we had better options for people to pursue what works for them individually, we would have, as the prompt described it, more girl bosses.
But I think your argument is that if only we were to put...
That's a retarded argument. That wasn't even proving that we should have more girl bosses. You were just saying, it'd be nice if we had equal opportunities. Okay, so you argued for something completely fucking different. Nice one.
Women in workplaces, which no one's debating that they shouldn't be.
I am. I think they shouldn't be in the workplace, but anyway.
The question is not, should we restrict women from doing it? It should be...
I think we should.
Should we have more trad wives, right? And so my argument is that there are studies that show that having, and I can speak personally, I've been married for close to 20 years. I was in the military for a little bit over a decade.
Military
I
boy.
worked, I provided. That's worked for me. That's worked for my parents. That's worked for my grandparents. That's why we're traditional. We carry down these traditions from family to family. And so we see that.
There's overwhelming arguments you could make for why we need more trad wives. There's unlimited amount of arguments. I could ramble for an hour about all the reasons why we should have more trad wives and why there's an overwhelming series of talking points I could go over for this particular position. There's none for girl bosses.
Our children are thriving. I see that my children have a mother at home that loves them and is able to be with them for their school events or for sporting, things like that. And it's worked for us. So
yeah, I could literally generate unlimited, from any angle you want to go at it, I could literally generate hundreds of points for why it's better for women to be trad wives and why we should have more of them. It's like undeniable.
The question is, do we need more girl bosses? Do we need more women away from their children? And I just don't think that's what we need more of.
So why? So if the woman is away from, it's just one parent's at home and one parent's at work, right? That's kind of what we're describing. It's just. So what is the issue with a man being the stay-at-home parent?
Well, I just don't think that's the role of a man.
Well, because children don't need a father; they need a mother at the home. So it's not like you can just supplement the mother's role with the father's. Because one, they need breastfeeding. Everyone forget about that. It's actually better for your child to grow up on breastfed milk than random baby formula from China, right? So there's that. So you're losing out on that. Plus, children developmentally, when the mother actually has to stay at home or a parent has to stay at home and take care of them and they can't go to school yet, so those pivotal years from 0 to 5, they actually need the mom, right? So the child is more attuned to a feminine energy. They need a feminine presence in the household, not just any presence. They need someone who can be nurturing and take care of them and put up with their shit, and women are just more engineered for that, and the children at that age are going to prefer a mother. They want a soft, nurturing woman who's going to be more emotional. That's where women being more emotional is good. That's the one time we want women to be emotional is when it's with a child who primarily communicates with emotions and facial expressions. That's why women have more quote-unquote social intelligence. It's because they're better up at picking on facial expressions and emotions that are the primary modes of communication for children. So we don't want a man who's going to be logical and he's going to be verbal, right? We want a woman who's going to be emotional and sensitive in that way because that's what's best for the kid. So you can't just supplement a woman's attention with a man's attention and expect the same quality of results. And the inverse is true in terms of the workplace. Men still earn more than women. Men work harder than women. They work longer. They're better in the workplace. They're more suited for work. They're happier doing work. It's healthier for them to go do work in the workplace. Right? So you get worse quality of outcome putting a man in the house, and you get a worse quality of outcome putting women in the workplace. So it's just shit all around.
Here's the reality. My wife and I both work from home. I'm out in the field a lot because I'm an independent journalist, so I do travel a lot more for work.
Right.
But we both work from home, and that's actually great too.
Really
and I also get to partake in a lot of the things that we do. So it's like
Chubby
a
fat
sporting
kid.
event 2 p.m. I'm not stuck in the office. I'm able to do that. But going back in where I was deployed for months at a time and having my wife stay at home, I think that
you know what happened then.
It would have been detrimental that not only do my kids have a deployed parent, but they also have a mother that's stuck at work 8 to 5.
Well, definitely. I think that you're I think we're not necessarily disagreeing there. So what you're describing is, in your situation, it made the most sense to have your wife be a trad wife, right? I'm a millennial and I feel silly saying trad wife. It's not my verbiage. Yeah. Would you agree that it makes sense for us to have those cases where it might make more sense for there to be a girl boss to allowed to happen? Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Sure. I think what your argument is.
He was basically saying, are there situations where there should be women being trad wives, and are there situations where women should be girl bosses? Well, no, because even then, I think the majority of the time it's just infinitely better for women to be trad wives. I don't think there really is an appropriate time for women to be career bosses, unless maybe they're Unless maybe they're like 50 and they've already had all their kids and they want to go work for the last 10 years of their life. Or if they're maybe like 20 and they haven't had a family yet. But you should really be having a family. If you're a young woman and you're like, I'm not married yet, I should work, then you should be moving towards having a family. And if you go out and you work at the age of 50 because you've had all your kids, you're still a trad wife. You're just in the late stages of what it means to be a trad wife. So what is the delineating factor then between a trad wife and a girl boss? It's when you're 20 and 30, do you prioritize being a wife and mother to your kids, or do you prioritize your career? That's what it means. That's the effective delineation between a trad wife and a girl boss, which none of these people do. Like, if you're doing a debate, guys, you need to start with definitions. You need to start with what distincts A from B. How is A different from B, and specifically why? Because what he's saying is like, well, maybe there's a time when, in a period in a woman's life where she should go to work, and then she should be a girl boss. And it's like, yeah, but just going to work doesn't make you a girl boss. What makes you a girl boss is prioritizing your career over having a family when you're, 20 to 30. And yeah, that's a stupid idea, because that's all your fertile eggs are getting thrown into the toilet when you do that. When you girl boss your way through your 20s and 30s, and it's just horrible. If you're gonna go be a girl boss, go do that in your 50s, but that's not really girl bossing anymore.
Is that we probably
it's like old woman crone bossing
in a society where women also have to work, and so what I'm saying is
that's ancient dinosaur bossing.
Yes, I have a personal bias of why my wife should stay at home, but also there's studies to show that women that tend to stay at home with children tend to have a happier family. They tend to
children with both parents tend to do better. Holy fuck, guys!
Be able to have less divorce rates, for example.
We got to get Jordan Peterson in here to exercise this amazing new research that says that children need both parents in the household. Holy shit, guys. According to a 2014 Pew Research study, stay-at-home married mothers are 5 times more likely to live in poverty than married mothers who work. Wait, what? Wait a minute. This fact check is actually arguing against this guy's point. Children of working moms. No, that's not true. This is fake news. Just as happy? Nah, that's bullshit. That's fucking bullshit. That's mentally retarded. It's funny they have fact check, but they don't link the study, right? Or they don't show like the methodology. They just say, "Oh look, here's the fact," and they just link another appeal to authority. It's like, nice. Stay-at-home married mothers are 5 times more likely to live in poverty. That's some bullshit. Than married mothers who work. Well, okay. Yeah, we live in an economy now where you can't afford to not work because we fucked it up. We fucked the economy, so now you have to work. Which is because women are in the workplace, so now you have to work. Because, to explain it simply, the economy used to be engineered for a one-person working household. Like just the man was working, and that's all you needed to support a family. And then some people thought it'd be a great idea to double dip because of feminism, which tried to push women into the workplace. And then people went into the workplace because they're like, oh, I can make 2 incomes. Isn't that great? And then we have all these people, because of feminism and because of this double dipping, now we have 2 people in the workplace. And then the economy readjusted and was like, wait a minute, people are getting twice the amount of money that they should be getting. We should be paying them less. So then they paid them less, and now we have to have 2 people working. And now they doubled the amount of slaves for their corporate system they used to have. Good job, feminism. That's a really great system you guys invented. You now just shackled yourselves to a stupid employer to go get yelled at and go get an education. Great job, guys. Now we don't have anyone taking care of the kids. None of the mama birds are at the nests anymore, so now the foxes can come in and they can eat up all the eggs. So, nice one. Good job. There's got to be some bullshit. Yeah, so now if you don't work, you're forced into poverty. That's all this really shows, is that people have to work, and doesn't mean it's good. It's kind of like all the studies really showing is that if only one person works, you have less money. Whereas if you have two people working, you make more money. It's like, yep, no, obviously. So yeah, individuals can't do that on a normative individual level, but we need to change society. That's what we're saying, is does society need more trad wives or girl bosses? Yeah, we need to get women out of the workplace so we can return to a one person economy, not two people. And then that would fix it again.
As opposed to two people that are usually always at work and they rarely see each other, they rarely spend time with their kids. There's also some studies that show that kids do better in the long run.
Look at this gay fact checking that's only working for the blue side and not doing anything with the red side. A 2010, so it's like cherry picking because you're only using this. You can find a study to say anything. You can just get some stupid leftist to write some dumb study with a stupid methodology that isn't peer reviewed, and you can just get it to say whatever the fuck you want by cherry picking your data and just throwing out any study that shows anything contrary. So you can't trust most study. A 2010 study analysis, was it a meta-analysis? Was it a peer review? Anyway, what's the methodology? What's the sample size? Of 69 studies found, early maternal employment is not significantly associated with children's later achievements and behavior outcomes. I'm sorry, what? I don't know what that means. Found early maternal employment is not significantly associated with children's later. Okay, so you didn't find a significant link in one particular area. There's a term for that, like not finding evidence isn't proof of the contrary, I guess. Or what's the phrase, damn it? It's like not finding evidence of something doesn't disprove it. It just proves you haven't found what you're looking for yet. And that's a very vague sounding study. I don't fucking know.
When they have a parent that stays at home, for example.
And it's probably bullshit, so we'll just say that.
What's interesting is regarding studies on stay-at-home parenting. On the census, an at-home dad is defined as somebody who has not been in the workforce and not made money over the past 52-week period, over the past year. And so when you look at studies of stay-at-home dads, you miss out on things like, as you mentioned, people who do remote work or people who work part-time. And so I am not as confident as you are in the sort of evidence base for this claim.
That's so rich because the exact same, and this is projection, by the way, this is projection of the leftists, is they're like, oh, that study's probably bullshit. Yeah, because all your studies are bullshit. But do you have any actually proof to show that?
That, stay-at-home dads are somehow detrimental compared to stay-at-home moms. I believe it was the American Psychological...
Damn, they're just fact-checking all the fucking things for this guy. This guy gets like 3 trillion fact checks from some random thing. According to the APA, raising a child in a home with 2 stable, happy parents is one of the strongest protective factors against men. Okay, so yeah, that's true. Okay, so 2-parent households do better. Okay, therefore...
Psychological Association put out a statement on this where they said that as long as it's a stable, loving household, that's the most, that's kind of the...
Oh, no, that's a fallacy, actually. That's a fallacy. Saying, that's a red herring. Because what you're saying is, oh, this thing leads to child happiness. That doesn't mean this other thing doesn't also lead to child happiness. It's like saying, I think the color of the car affects its sale price. Let's say that. That might be true, but then someone could come over and say, well, actually, they say as long as it's just a good car, and as long as the quality is there, that matters a lot more about the sale price of the cars. It's more about the quality of it. It's more about the internal components. A study shows that actually internal components determines the quality of the car or determines the sale price of the car. That doesn't actually disprove that the color of the car doesn't also affect it. So it's like a red herring because you're like shifting it from being about the color to be about this other thing. And maybe the internal components of the car are more important, although they didn't really say that because in the study did not look at the color of the car, or the study did not look at stay-at-home fathers versus stay-at-home mothers, and that was not included in the methodology of the study. That was not factored into it. That was not analyzed. So if you're just looking at 2-parent households versus 1-parent households, then you can't then make a claim about single-father households versus single-mother households. That's what I'm trying to say.
The highest bar you have. But so
I'm just gonna pause you because we're out of time. So I want to push you both towards
Yeah, of course.
offering a statement that you think both of you would agree on regarding trad wives and girl bosses.
Would you agree that
This guy's so
in
gay.
a circumstance where it makes the most sense for that family
This guy should have got beat
to
up.
have a girl boss?
Sorry, I'm not inciting hate. Don't strike my channel. But for this guy's own benefit, he would have did better if he had a physically active father in his household.
We should facilitate that.
I don't agree with that. Just
Instrumental compared to.
I
I'm
think
too busy.
argument
I was too busy ingesting all the estrogen. Let's see what he was actually saying.
better in the long run when they have a parent that stays at home, for example.
What's interesting.
Of you would agree on regarding trad wives and girl bosses.
Would you agree that in a circumstance where it makes the most sense for that family to have a girl boss, we should facilitate that?
Well, I think the majority of the time, there's no real instance where a girl boss is going to be better. It's like saying, in an instance where shoving a metal rod up my asshole is better, do you agree that we should allow people to do that? It's like, well, that's never going to happen, right? That's just ridiculous. So might there be a rare, particular, tiny instance where girl bossing it is slightly better for whatever reason? For some crazy circumstance? Sure, in theory, but we're talking about society at large. So we're talking about averages and we're talking about generalizations. So that point as a whole doesn't really relate to the main question, which is what does society need? Not might there be a specific instance where a girl boss is preferable? And I think by and large, no. Children want stay-at-home moms. They want their mom to stay at home and take care of them during their formative years. Not a dad. And they don't want to be raised by the education system or by the government or by daycares.
I don't agree with that just because what you're almost claiming is that the family can only be successful if the woman is a girl boss.
Oh, no, that's not what I meant to claim at all.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I would say there is no instance where a girl boss is better. So this hypothetical doesn't work in reality. We're also talking about society at large.
I must have so I'm just trying to say, should we look at people as individuals and look at...
Yeah, and that's basically what he's doing, is he's trying to... And that's a very common leftist tactic, so I'm great he's kind of explicating exactly what he's doing, and you guys should pay attention because they're kind of just giving away their hand. They're telling you exactly their playbook, which is anytime you try to make some kind of generalized statement about how morality should work or about how we should run things, or if you ever try to impose your moral system onto other people as like a conservative right-wing person, then all they have to do is they say, oh, but what about the one gay man who's just truly gay and he was born that way? Shouldn't we accommodate him? What about the one family that might need a girl boss and that's better for them? Shouldn't we allow them to do that? And it's like avoiding talking about generalizations and making everything a series of like disembodied random particulars so that they don't have to deal with your general statement and to avoid you from assigning moral oughts upon a society at large. And no, this doesn't work because you need to make policy that affects the most amount of people. You need to make policy that's going to be good for people at large. And if there's a few people where that policy upsets them and is worse for them, well, you got to consider the needs of the many over the needs of the few. So
at individual circumstances and then have people do what makes the most sense for their individual circumstances instead of making these broad kind of gender-based prescriptions where it's like you're a woman so you should do this, you are a man or as you do in your own life. It sounds like your situation is not exactly a traditional situation because you are considering your...
And this is always what the left wing does, and it's actually the best point against right wing, is point out how, hey look, you're actually just a gay faggot too. You're just as gay as me. You like gay marriage. You like gay faggots running around. You like the leader of the German AFD or ADF. I swear it's ADF. Fuck, it's AFD. Right, it's alternative for Germany. It's like a gay woman is their president. So hey, look, you're just equally as gay as us, which is actually true. All these conservatives are also just classical liberals. And they point that out. So it's actually a good point.
personal circumstances, your personal strengths.
But also studies back that, right? So that's what I was saying, less divorce rates. And then if you want to get into like the intricacies, like, you know, a family that goes to a church every single week has a 50% less chance of getting divorced, right? So it's just a little, I guess, difficult to come to the realization of like, it's only if a girl boss was there, right? Because I mean, there is that question after us. Should we have more girl bosses? Not should.
Here's a really simple argument. You could say, trad wives, what does that mean? Being traditional. So do we want more traditional women or do we want girl bosses? Well, traditional women outperformed girl bosses infinitely. And when we had trad wives in the past, gender dynamics were much better. We had much less divorce. Children had much less trauma. Children were performing much better. Our economy was much better because women were not in the workplace. And then you can just basically say that the old way of women doing things was just infinitely better in all categories. We didn't have all these divorces. We didn't have families breaking up. We didn't have children living with different families. We didn't have children getting groomed by the YMCA worker. Shit like that. And everything was just objectively much better back then in terms of gender roles. I'm surprised no one brought up like spousal abuse. I'm surprised the leftists weren't like, oh, what do you want? You want trad wives where the women used to get beaten, assaulted?
Could we allow women to work, which is well part of lawful, you know, way of doing things? So I guess I'm just kind of having a hard time with that middle ground.
Yeah, what would yours be?
I think the conversation I've had with a lot of people, progressive men, is that they think that traditional men are just strictly against women working, period. And that
I am. Yeah, I think women should not work by and large. The only time they should work is either when they're done having kids, or maybe if they're like 16, 17, 18, or if it's like working from home. It's something you can do on top of having kids. That's the thing I would say is women should work at home, maintaining the home and doing things that they can afford to do while also taking care of children. So that's like, if you can maintain the farm while taking care of kids, do that. If you can make me clothing and knit clothing while taking care of kids, you should do that. If you can do the domestic stuff, you should do that. So should women go work for a company and go travel to work in their car and go earn a paycheck for some random guy at a corporate office? Probably no, right? But if there's other work they can do, or if they can do that kind of work after they've had their kids, because you have a biological clock, ladies, you can't just wait until you're 40 to have kids. So you need to have those kids when you're 20 and 30, and that's what a trad wife is. So then if you're 40, 50, and you've had all your kids, then you can go and kind of do some random career stuff because you can afford to do that. You're not tied up anymore. So that's kind of the prescription I would offer.
That's just not my view. I think that the rights are there. My wife works, right? But she works from home, and it doesn't really interrupt the household, you know?
I think I have an idea. So what about we should make it easier for a family to have a girl boss if that works good for the family. Does that make sense?
Or let's flip it and let's make...
That's retarded. All right, I give up. These guys are fucking dumb. These gay leftists. I'm sick of staring at this fat, chubby, fucking British white journalist cuck. These are the people writing for the New York Times. These total absolute faggots. People like disgusting. Like ugh, gross. I don't want to see him anymore. I'm gonna see this guy in my nightmares, bro. This guy's fucking disgusting. Don't want to see this guy anymore. All right, but let me know what you guys thought. Let me know if you guys equally found these individuals on this panel repulsive. I found them pretty hard to look at. I don't want any of them telling me what masculinity is or what makes a real man. You guys look like you're halfway there to the Glebe Glebe Globalop from fucking The Living Tombstone, bro. I don't want to fucking see these guys anymore. This is fucking disgusting. And don't let stupid, dumb conservatives or stupid, dumb Jubilee leftists trying to define what fucking masculinity is. Good lord. All right. But I think with that, guys, I think we're going to head out. This is a pretty long video, hour 23 minutes. And with that, I will see everybody later. Goodbye.